On to our top headline now. New details have been released regarding exactly what led up to the death of an inmate at the El Paso County Jail Annex on Monday.
According to the affidavit, video footage, which hasn't been made available to KTSM, reportedly shows that Torres walked into his cell shortly after 7 Sunday night. We are told that Torres was seen sitting on his bunk bed and says Juan Alberto Ortiz, Manuel Alejandro Vargas, Giovanni Dionisio Ramos, and George Lopez standing over him talking to him.
Chuco Tango gang, and it was the target of this raid as part of a large-scale drug trafficking
El Paso, Texas, a historic city on the U.S.-Mexico border, has long been a crossroads of culture, commerce, and conflict. Founded in the 17th century as a Spanish colonial outpost, El Paso later became a hub for trade, military operations, and cross-border collaboration. Its rich cultural tapestry has produced famous figures in music and entertainment, including rapper King Lil G, who often draws on life in El Paso in his lyrics. Despite its vibrant culture and resilient community, the city has also struggled with gang activity, fueled by poverty, drug trafficking, and cross-border criminal networks. Over the past several years, law enforcement has launched a series of major operations targeting gangs that threaten public safety, including prison-born gangs like Chuco Tango, street gangs such as Surenos and Cruces Boys, and transnational organizations with ties to Mexico's LA Empresa cartel. The following cases spanning raids, federal indictments, and multi-agency operations highlight the ongoing fight to reclaim El Paso neighborhoods from violent gang influence.
Targeting members of and affiliates of the Chuco Tango gang. It's all part of a large-scale drug trafficking investigation.
Estela, Thursday morning's operation resulted in the arrest of 21 individuals related to the Chuco Tango gang. That is according to the U.S. Attorney Jaime Esparza. All these individuals suspected of serious drug and firearm offenses. Now the arrest taking place across the borderland in southern New Mexico and West Texas, targeting El Paso, Socorro, Horizon, Las Cruces, and Anthony, New Mexico. The operations conducted in conjunction by federal, state, local, and tribal law enforcement agencies.
Across the borderland, FBI agents arrested 21 members of the Chuco Tango gang in multiple early morning raids. Some of the raids happened in West El Paso. One was on the 600 block of Westway Boulevard.
The other on the 7300 block of Lakehurst Road. The announcement was made during a news conference about 1 hour ago.
I want to show you video of the scene that we got earlier this morning in West El Paso. That is of Lakehurst Road, as FBI agents were searching a home, which we now know was connected to these arrests. Officials say the individuals arrested today were suspected of serious drug and firearm offenses associated with the local gang known as Chuco Tangos. They are charged with a combination of statutes related to possession with intent to distribute cocaine.
A coordinated operation targeted the prison-born gang known as Chuco Tango in raids across El Paso. The operation resulted in the arrest of 22 individuals, including accused Chuco Tango gang members, associates, and drug dealers. They face charges related to the distribution of various drugs and illegal firearms. The arrests occurred in multiple locations, including El Paso, Horizon City, Socorro, and Las Cruces and Anthony, New Mexico. Due to the high number of arrests, detainees were processed at the El Paso County Coliseum. Charges against the suspects range from drug conspiracy and possession with intent to distribute to unlawful possession of firearms by felons.
In other news, according to the El Paso FBI, in a successfully multi-agency-led operation, Michelle Angelica Pineda, known as La Cheli, was arrested in El Paso on Thursday. Pineda was wanted by the Mexican government for her alleged involvement in multiple in Ciudad Juarez. Law enforcement says Pineda had entered the U.S. illegally and was allegedly operating a drug trafficking ring for a gang out of Mexico.
Michelle Angelica Pineda was arrested yesterday. She's wanted in Mexico for her alleged involvement in fire and is suspected of multiple other Ciudad Juarez. Local law enforcement, including the FBI Safe Street Gang Task Force, learned that Pineda had entered into the United States illegally and was allegedly operating a drug trafficking ring from a gang from Mexico.
Chuco Tango has been linked to Michelle Angelica Pineda, also known as La Shelly, a Juarez-based leader of the Aristas Asesinos Street Gang. Pineda is accused of leading a violent group that mutilated victims in ritualistic deletions dedicated to La Santa Muerte. Intelligence from the El Paso Police Department revealed communication between Pineda and Chuco Tango members, leading to her February arrest at an East El Paso motel. She was subsequently deported to Mexico, where she faces multiple deletion charges. Chuco Tango, named after the local nickname El Chuco for El Paso, is the city's faction of the larger Tango Blast gang, which operates in major Texas cities. Unlike hierarchical prison gangs like Barrio Azteca and the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas, Chuco Tango functions with a decentralized leadership structure. The gang does not enforce a blood-in, blood-out rule for membership and operates in loosely organized cells outside of prison. The gang has been involved in violent conflicts with the Barrio Azteca gang, particularly due to its refusal to pay a street tax for drug trafficking operations in El Paso. Tango Blast originated as a prison self-protection group and has grown into a network of loosely affiliated factions across Texas. The original Tango groups, known as the Four Horsemen, include Houston, D-Town, Dallas, Cerritos, Fort Worth, and ATX, Austin. Other factions include Tango Orijon in San Antonio, West Texas, Cartels, Corpus Christi, and the Valucos from the Rio Grande Valley. Law enforcement agencies continue to monitor the expansion of Chuco Tango and other Tango Blast factions, focusing on their role in drug trafficking and violent crime in Texas and beyond.
According to the affidavit, video footage, which hasn't been made available to KTSM, reportedly shows that Torres walked into his cell shortly after 7 Sunday night. We are told that Torres was seen sitting on his bunk bed and says Juan Alberto Ortiz, Manuel Alejandro Vargas, Giovanni Dionisio Ramos, and George Lopez standing over him talking to him. The fifth inmate, Christian Carrillo, then enters the cell. 10 minutes later, Carrillo leaves to retrieve what's described as a kite message, or outside message from under the door. Footage also allegedly shows Torres being punched and kicked while lying on the floor. The inmates used a wooden cane to struck Torres and stabbed him in the eye and punched him in the scrotum. Carrillo and Ramos were allegedly acting as lookouts. Also in the affidavit, a person who wishes to remain anonymous met with detectives, saying before Torres' assault, Vargas told the witness he was waiting for confirmation from outside that Torres was an ex-Barrio Azteca gang member, and this individual was told details about the assault from Vargas, Ortiz, and Rocha. Ortiz, who was jailed in 2022 for shooting his mom last December after an argument, was facing murder charges. His charge of
Court documents reveal that 6 inmates at the El Paso County Jail Annex have been charged in the demise of 57-year-old Torres. The case has drawn intense scrutiny, raising questions about inmate safety, staff oversight, and the influence of organized gangs within the jail system. According to investigators, Torres was beaten and stabbed to death inside the facility. A partial autopsy later cited in a lawsuit filed by his family confirmed multiple injuries consistent with a violent assault rather than an accident. Authorities allege that the suspects are connected to Barrio Azteca, a powerful gang with operations spanning El Paso and Ciudad Juarez. Among those charged is an inmate identified as Vargas, who had been booked into the jail in September on unrelated charges. The other 5 suspects were listed by surname in filings. Court records described their alleged roles in the crime, including repeated beatings and at least one fatal stabbing carried out inside or near Torres' cell. In response, Torres' family has filed a lawsuit against the jail, accusing officials of negligence and failure to protect him. The lawsuit points to inadequate supervision, lapses in monitoring gang violence, and potential civil rights violations. The autopsy results showing severe wounds consistent with an intentional attack were cited as central evidence of systemic failures at the facility. A year-long investigation by the Texas Department of Public Safety has led to the arrest of 15 individuals in El Paso tied to suspected gang activity and drug crimes. Authorities say the case focused on members and associates of several prison and street gangs, including Chuco Tango, Surenos, Barrio Azteca, and Varrio Glenwood. Charges against the defendants include engaging in organized criminal activity and the manufacture or delivery of a controlled substance. Those arrested range in age from 19 to 40 and include both men and women. A joint operation by the El Paso Police Department's gang unit and the Texas Department of Public Safety led to the arrest of 3 men with known gang ties. Authorities identified the suspects as Thomas John Hong, Letter Lee Bell, and Leonard Strickland, 34. Hong was taken into custody at the Villa Estrella Strip Center on George Dieter Drive. He was wanted on a felony warrant for evading arrest or detention with a motor vehicle, and also faced a misdemeanor charge for mere possession. Records show Hong previously received deferred adjudication for the felony charge in 2019 and has prior convictions for burglary of a habitation and burglary of a vehicle. Bell and Strickland were located and arrested in the 1500 block of Larry Watkins Drive. Both were wanted by the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for parole violations and were booked into the El Paso County Detention Facility without bond. Authorities emphasized that the operation specifically targeted gang members with outstanding warrants in an effort to reduce violent crime in El Paso communities. On April 23, 2025, El Paso police arrested Esteban Acosta, a suspected member of the Cruces Boys gang, following a high-speed chase in Canutillo, Texas. The pursuit stemmed from an earlier incident on April 10th, when a Texas Department of Public Safety trooper tried to pull Acosta over for speeding and failing to signal lane changes. Acosta allegedly refused to stop and led officers on a dangerous chase through parking lots, off-road terrain, and over curbs before abandoning his SUV. Troopers later discovered the vehicle in a deserted area near the outlet shops at El Paso and Canutillo Elementary School, along with a bag containing Acosta's Texas prison inmate ID and parole paperwork. The chase prompted temporary lockdowns at nearby schools, though no injuries were reported. Acosta was wanted on an outstanding warrant for vehicle theft, and his actions during the pursuit led to additional charges for evading arrest or detention with a vehicle and a parole violation. Authorities confirmed that Acosta is an active member of the Cruces Boys gang, which has connections across El Paso and Las Cruces, New Mexico. The incident underscores ongoing concerns about gang activity in the region and highlights the challenges law enforcement faces in keeping the community safe. On July 8, 2025, 6 men were arrested in connection with an armed robbery that took place in the 10,700 block of Alta Loma in El Paso. The victim, who had met a woman on Facebook, was invited to a party at the residence. Upon arrival, he was confronted by several individuals armed with firearms, assaulted, and robbed of his personal property before managing to escape. The following day, the El Paso Police Department's gang unit executed a search warrant at the residence, recovering 3 rifles and a handgun that were seized as evidence. 6 men were arrested in connection with the robbery. On January 17, 2025, agents from the Texas Department of Public Safety executed a coordinated operation targeting members of a transnational criminal organization with ties to the LA Impresa cartel and the Paisa prison gang. The operation led to the arrest of 3 individuals at an apartment complex in El Paso's Lower Valley. All 3 are convicted felons currently under federal probation. During the operation, agents seized 2 rifles and nearly 1 kilogram. Mario Ivan Ramirez admitted to being a member of the Paisa prison gang and a key coordinator for a human smuggling operation led by the LA Impresa cartel, operating in the Ciudad Juarez and El Paso border areas. He was also charged with deadly conduct discharge firearm, a 3rd-degree felony, after being identified in a recent shooting incident. In January 2019, a coordinated 6-month investigation by local, state, and federal law enforcement led to the arrest of 9 suspected Surenos gang members and associates in El Paso's Lower Valley and Socorro areas. The investigation, called Operation Cartel with Cartel meaning Southerner, in Nahuatl was conducted by the West Texas Anti-Gang Center. On January 14th and 15th, law enforcement executed search warrants at residences on Chelo Azul Drive, Clems Road, and Sheffield Road. The Surenos gang, a national street gang originating in Southern California, is known for involvement in drug trafficking and violent crimes. Local authorities emphasized that this operation would disrupt gang activity and reduce the influence of drug trafficking in the community, particularly the rising methamphetamine use. Acting Socorro Police Chief Eddie Smith highlighted the significance of the arrests, noting the operation would help restore safety in the affected neighborhoods. Taken together, these cases reveal the depth and complexity of gang activity in El Paso. The Chuco Tango arrests demonstrate the danger posed by prison-born gangs trafficking drugs and coordinating violent acts across the border. The Barrio Azteca jail demise exposed the brutal influence of organized gangs even behind bars, sparking concerns about inmate safety and institutional oversight. Multi-agency operations, including the arrest of Cruces Boys members, the Facebook party robbery bust, and the transnational cartel-linked arrests underscore the wide-ranging tactics gangs use, from street-level violence to smuggling and firearms offenses. Meanwhile, Operation Cartel targeted Surenos members in the Lower Valley and Socorro, highlighting the persistent threat of drug distribution and violent crimes at the local level. These operations collectively reflect the resilience and coordination of El Paso law enforcement agencies in the face of persistent gang threats. While gangs continue to exploit communities and cross-border networks, the arrests and prosecutions show that authorities are committed to restoring safety, reducing violence, and dismantling criminal networks. For El Paso residents, these efforts represent more than just law enforcement victories. They are part of a broader push to reclaim neighborhoods, protect the next generation, and ensure the city's long-standing cultural and economic vitality continues to thrive despite its challenges.